tried keto, high carb diet, fasting.
It turns out the answer was right in front of my eyes the whole time. I just wasn't looking in the right places. And no, I know what you're thinking. I definitely do not have the best genetics. Before we get started, I just want to say that sustainability is key, because no matter how good a diet is, if you can't stick to it, you won't see results. I was barely eating and the fat still wouldn't come off. And the mistake I made was that I wasn't eating enough. And when you don't eat enough, your body goes into starvation mode. And when you're in starvation mode, it's 10 times harder to build muscle and lose fat because your body's trying to hold on to the nutrients. You're going to want to figure out what your maintenance calories are. So I recommend going to a maintenance calculator website, putting in all your stats, and whatever number that is, you want to subtract 500 calories from that, and then have that be your target goal for every single day. After you find out how many calories you're going to need to be intaking every single day, you're going to want to stick to these main principles, and that is cutting out all processed sugar, seed oils, and making sure that when you cook your food, you either cook it in beef tallow, ghee, or butter. At the end of the day, it is calories in, calories out, and you can get lean on a horrible diet, but you're going to feel horrible. Some easy tips to not be feeling horrible when you're in a calorie deficit is for sure maximizing your testosterone. And some ways you can do that is by making sure you're getting enough sunlight. So you need about 40,000 IUs a day, or about an hour in the sun. And also, right when you wake up, naturally your cortisol levels are going to be super high, and you definitely don't want to go on your phone because it disrupts that. You need to take your shirt off, go in the sun, get some sunlight, and that will naturally calm you down, because if you're way too stressed out, it's going to be harder to build muscle and lose body fat. You want to eat your carbs around your workout, so 75% pre and 25% post. And for my carb sources, I like to have rice, fruit, and potatoes. That's it. Don't overcomplicate it. For fat, we have eggs, avocado, and dairy. And then for protein, I have red meat, chicken, and whey protein, along with egg. Next, I'm going to talk about your training, okay? And again, any training split works, but you have to be able to stick to it consistently. And the main factor is recovery and also stimulating growth. So if you're not training hard enough, you won't see progress. And if you're training too hard, you won't see progress because you won't be recovering. So find any routine that works for you and stick to it. I recommend 4 or 5 day split, whether that be push-pull legs or any other sort of split, but that also depends on what you do outside of the gym and your activity levels. Don't rely too much on supplemental protein, so whey protein and like protein bars and stuff like that, just because there's literally no nutrients in that, and a lot of time it's really processed. So you want to stick to all natural foods. And what I like to do, I like to have all my fat in the morning, and that keeps me full for longer, and I tend to not overeat. But I also work out later in the day, and because of that, I take a non-stim pre-workout. And if you take a stim pre-workout, let's say at 5 p.m. and it's 300 milligrams of caffeine, you're still going to have about half of that in your system when you're trying to go to sleep. And that is very bad for multiple reasons, because caffeine makes it a lot harder to sleep, and you're not going to be getting full REM sleep if you have a lot of caffeine in your system, therefore affecting your recovery, and you won't be getting as big. So if you work out late at night, definitely switch to a non-stim pre. Trust me, you'll thank me later. So while you're in a cut, you're first going to lose your glycogen out of your muscle cells, and ultimately that's what's known as being flat, and you're going to be looking a little bit smaller. Trick to counter looking flat is for sure having a refeed day, and a refeed day is so important because ultimately it will boost the water in your cells, and you'll be feeling so much better, having a lot more energy, because when you're in a deficit for a long time and you get super flat, you'll eventually start to lose muscle if you stay in a too strict of a diet or stay in a cutting phase for way too long. So I recommend having 1 day a week where you're increasing your carbohydrates about 150 grams to 200 grams a day, and you'll definitely notice a huge difference in your performance and how you look. Also, if you're having a hard time sleeping, I recommend supplementing with ashwagandha and also a spoonful of raw honey before you go to bed, because raw honey speeds up the melatonin process, and I for sure notice it. I get way better dreams. I don't wake up throughout the night, and I feel so much more refreshed the next day when I have some raw honey about an hour before I go to bed. You're definitely going to want to be taking creatine, and also making sure to utilize cardio, and cardio is a tool. Do not depend on it, okay? You can't outwork a horrible diet. I recommend still getting around 10,000 steps per day, and you can hit it inside, but like me personally, you can get your sunlight in and cardio at the same time. and you just kill two birds with one stone. So I think that that's what works best for me. And yeah. Okay, so I'm gonna be straight up honest with you guys. Getting lean and in shape is not easy and it's not fun, but the results you get from it are really the prize at the end of the day, because you know everyone wants to look great, and when other people see that you're in amazing shape, they like look up to you because they know how hard it is themselves. And at the end of the day, you're gonna feel so much better about yourself, and by you feeling better about yourself, you're gonna start making better decisions for your future.